Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and as you guys might be able to tell, I'm actually sitting in the 66 Ford Ranchero. That's the same truck that I have been doing the Ford 200 engine rebuild on, and the reason why I'm able to take it out somewhere this nice is because I can drive the truck around now. So on my last video, I had talked about how the exhaust system was completely removed out of the truck, and that's because it was just so old and had so many holes in it, it was just completely rusted out. So I was running open headers. So every time I turned on the truck, the entire neighborhood knew that I turned on the truck. And I don't know about y'all, but I really do like my neighbors, and I would like to maintain a cordial relationship with them. But I recently got it back, the truck, from an exhaust shop. So we had installed a Thrush glass pack into the truck. It sounds absolutely killer. I mean, it really sounds phenomenal. I'll make sure to throw in a snippet of what it sounds like, and maybe a little bit of maybe a small launch if I can. But it sounds phenomenal, and once again, I've been driving around everywhere in this thing because it was just really, really reliable. So let's talk a little bit about some of my experiences with the rebuild. I guess this will be kind of like a post review, how I feel about it now. Do I think it was worth it? And, where we're kind of headed for the future, because now we really just have a lot of little things left to deal with in this rebuild, and actually now it's kind of more of a restoration rather than just a rebuild now. So let's get into it, because there's a lot that we need to cover here. All right, and I will try to go ahead and give a quick rundown as to everything that we did to this little Ford 200 engine rebuild. So the first thing that you guys are probably going to notice is that carburetor. So that is definitely not the stock style carburetor. I actually bought that carburetor, and it actually came as an entire kit from Clifford Performance. That company is absolutely awesome. I don't know if they're going to watch this video, but if you guys do, I just want to say thank you. This kit is super cool. The carburetor, when I was able to get it bolted down, it ran the very first time. It got a little bit of gasoline into its bowls and then just started right up. The tuning was absolutely amazing, at least for initial startup. There is some tuning that I'm going to have to do to make it want to run appropriately on this particular motor. However, you guys know exactly what you're doing. So once again, Clifford sold me this kit. It came with the carb filter, not the sticker. I bought that on eBay. The carburetor itself, the carb linkage, the adapter piece, because you will need that adapter piece to be able to mount it on the intake, aka the log on the Ford 200, and then the fuel regulator. They gave me all of that because you will need a fuel regulator in order to run a Weber 3838. I also believe the 3238 will also need a fuel regulator. So, like I said, Clifford sells it as a kit. It's absolutely phenomenal. I love it. The next thing that you guys will notice is the Shorty Performance headers. I bought these on eBay. As for the header wrap itself, I bought that on Amazon. They were on sale, so I decided, you know what, screw it. I'll just go ahead and get those. I actually have studs for the headers as well. I also believe I bought that from Clifford Performance. I believe they still sell that kit. They work absolutely great. I honestly prefer studs versus the bolts. The next thing that I did in terms of performance is I went out and I purchased this DUI, Davis Unified Ignition distributor. This is an HEI style distributor. I absolutely love this thing. This was really easy to set up. The one thing that I hate about this distributor right here, right now, is the fact that I still have not bought the proper Ford 200 spark plug wire kits for this distributor. So these are like super extra long and they just don't really look good on this build. The next thing that I had to do was and you're not going to be able to see this, but I had to go out and buy a stock style adjustable rocker arm assembly for this 4200 because I also put in a larger Claysmith camshaft into the engine. Now, the part number for that Claysmith camshaft is 07015. So if you like the way this motor sounds, then it might be a good indicator that that is the camshaft that you need to go out and actually purchase. Claysmith cams, you guys are also really, really awesome to work with. I was very, very pleased. I think I had to call you guys 3 different times concerning multiple different orders and different things. And you guys were nothing but helpful. Once again, I know they're probably not going to watch this video, but I just wanted to go ahead and say thank you. You guys, once again, are absolutely awesome. Now, let's get a little bit into the post rebuild review. So obviously, look, not everything is completely done. There is still a little bit of buttoning up that needs to be done, but I have been driving around this truck now for a little while, and I actually have been able to develop somewhat of an opinion on this rebuild. Now, the question that is probably on everyone's mind is, was this worth it? Was it worth it to spend all of this money on this particular rebuild for this type of motor? And, does the money that I spent justify its performance? Now, in terms of actual performance, let's just go ahead and be completely clear, completely honest. This motor is never going to be a powerhouse. I think I have mentioned that multiple times throughout this rebuild series. There are ways to try to make this motor faster, but this is never going to be something that you'll be making 250, 300, 400 horsepower from without significant modifications to the motor itself. I will be honest, I would be surprised if I am making at this point right here, right now, 200 horsepower. I probably am, but if you told me I was not, after I did like a dyno, I honestly wouldn't be surprised. I am definitely making a lot more torque. I will say that this motor is a lot more snappier. It's a lot more aggressive, especially when I do hit the gas pedal. But from where this motor started, which was essentially the completely untouched, completely stock style, to this, the performance increase, at least to me, does feel significant. I had a lot of fun rebuilding this motor, and a lot of people who want to rebuild inline 6 motors, the truth be told, the reason why they want to do it is because they like that particular motor. They want to try to keep their car or their truck as stock or as original as possible. Or maybe they just want to do something that's just a little bit different, which this is really different. At least everything that I've had to do up to this point is incredibly different. I have been to plenty of car shows, and although I have seen those headers on other 4200s, I haven't seen the other modifications that I have made to this motor at a car show. So, it does make me feel rather good knowing that I have something that is just a little bit different. If you're looking for horsepower, look, I hate to say it, but 9 times out of 10, generally speaking, there are a handful of exceptions, you're going to want to go with a V8. Now, what have I noticed about this rebuild, and what are some of the things that I would change looking back now? So first things first, the number one thing that I would change is the modification that I wanted to make to the log. So for those of you who have been around for quite some time, you all know that I wanted to do the triple barrel carburetor setup on this engine rebuild. That unfortunately was not possible, and I did talk about that in a prior video. The main reason why that's not possible is just because of parts availability and just cost. With the amount of performance that you will get out of doing that type of modification, I honestly do not believe that it's worth it. The other option that is potentially available to someone else who is doing a performance build of their 200 is to wait for Vintage Inlines to sell their aluminum head with the detachable intake that can accept a 2-barrel or 4-barrel carburetor. But I think those are now selling for about $3,000, and the wait list is still like 2 months out. Although Matt Cox is doing a fantastic job in trying to actually offer that cylinder head again. So Matt Cox, I'm really happy for you, brother. I hope that you can have a steady stock, a steady supply of those cylinder heads, because I do know that the demand seems to be fairly high. I know people want to do more performance modifications with this motor. Now, knowing the performance that I make now and knowing that I wanted to do the triple barrel carburetor, would in the future, if I were to, for whatever reason, get another Ford 200, would I do the triple barrel carburetor setup? Yes, I probably would. However, I think what I would ultimately end up going for is the Weber carburetor conversion. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there are dudes out there that will take a saw and literally cut off the entire log, and then they'll weld on essentially a piece of metal so they can mount on side draft Weber carburetors. It looks killer. Like, that looks super, super cool. And that pretty much eliminates all of the restrictive airflow from the log. I mean, side draft carburetors, the motor just wants to breathe very, very good after that. So I think that is something that I would personally do in the future, just because, and once again, nothing against Vintage Inlines, but that amount of money for that cylinder head is just a lot. And, welding a piece of metal and cutting the log off is just a lot cheaper. And I think you could probably get as good or, even better performance out of 3 side draft Weber carburetors on one of these motors. Like I said, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just look it up. Look up Weber carburetor side draft Ford 200, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. It looks really, really cool. Now, the second thing that I would do is I would go for long tube headers. There is still plenty of space, as you may or may not be able to see in the Ford Ranchero that I have. I believe that there will still be plenty of space for somebody who has like a Mustang. If you want to try to get the best performance out of your Ford 200, I would say, hey, just go for the long tube headers. The only thing that I think is a problem for most people is the placement of the starter. But from what I've been able to gather, everyone who has the long tube headers and they have the shorter style starter or the smaller starter, it will fit perfectly fine and you will get the better performance. Talking about performance, the camshaft. So the camshaft that I got from Claysmith Cams is absolutely cool. I really do appreciate the performance increase that I did get from it. I will say this though, I really wish that I got a more aggressive camshaft. This motor seems to really come alive when the RPMs seem to be in about the mid-range. It just really wants to just take off, honestly. And I think part of that is due thanks to the camshaft. Although the camshaft says that it's good at the lower RPM range, I'll be honest with you, it feels kind of stock. I feel like I was getting the same performance on the lower end of the RPM range as I did with my stock camshaft. It's when I start actually cruising, when this motor is really, really, like, it just shines. It feels like a completely different motor. Now, a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that it breathes a lot better. Once again, headers, right? And, even though the inlet for the log is small, there is a better possibility for at least a little bit better airflow through this bigger carburetor. So, it really just likes that mid-range and it drives fantastic. That is where I really enjoy everything that I had did with this rebuild. But once again, I would have gone with a way more aggressive camshaft had I known basically what I was getting myself into. Now, some of the reasons why I couldn't do that was because I needed vacuum. Now, I had to make all of these vacuum lines And as you can see here, they, you know, it doesn't look the best. However, it does work, and it works really well. All of this works really, really well. And I try my best to make it look as good as possible, but hey, you know, it is what it is. So with all of that being said, those are some of my feedback concerning this rebuild. You know, I would definitely do the side draft carburetors, or the Weber side draft carburetors. I would love to cut up another cylinder head and weld on a piece of metal onto it to get those Webers on it. I would have preferred using the long tube headers. And one thing that I did do is, if you do like the way that this motor sounds, I did have the exhaust shop install a Thrush glass pack muffler on it. I bought the glass pack on Amazon. It was dirt cheap, and the exhaust shop just took it and they installed it for me. They redid my entire exhaust line. It is not a true dual outlet. It's just a single outlet, but it sounds just fine, honestly. If I had the triple barrel carburetor set up and a bigger camshaft in the long tube headers, I probably would have done the true dual outlet exhaust system. However, just with how simple everything is here so far, there was just no need for me to do anything like that. So that's kind of where we're at. So I think on my last video, I had talked about how the heater core had went out. And for those of you who don't know, the heater core is actually located inside the heater box. It kind of looks like a small radiator, almost. Now on AutoZone, they did not have a heater core for a 1966 Ford Ranchero, but they did have it for a 1966 Ford Fairlane. And guess what? That part works just fine in the Ranchero. So I was able to install that the day that I got back the truck from the exhaust shop, and was able to install everything, put more coolant, and fire her right up. So that's pretty much it now for the rebuild. We are going to be starting on the restoration work. I'm going to be upgrading that single pot master brake cylinder to a double pot master brake cylinder. That's probably going to be the next thing that I do. Until then, thank you guys for watching. And if you have any questions, please post them in the comment section. I try my best to answer as many questions as I can. Thank you guys for sticking around. And once again, thank you to Clifford Performance and Clay Smith Camshaft. You guys are absolutely awesome. Until next time, guys, bye-bye.